Today's episode of the More You Know podcast is brought to you by CrowdQuestion, a brand new social communication platform focused on connecting crowds to bring everyone closer to their community, as well as enhancing any occasion. Rather than being a social media platform focused on content and advertising, they're focused on communication and connection. Learn more about the platform and download the app free at crowdquestion.com.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
Today's
More
You
No
podcast.
Today I want to talk about the importance of employing realistic thinking as discussed in John C. Maxwell's book, How Successful People Think. Realistic thinking provides so much value and adds to your life. And reality is the difference between what we wish for and what is. If you aren't a realistic thinker, it also takes time to develop. But with time, anybody can develop realistic thinking. If you're somebody who's going to solve problems and learn from your own mistakes in life, you must develop realistic thinking. And with that being said, I now want to go through 8 different ways that realistic thinking provides value in your life. And then from there, go through 5 things John says you can do to improve your realistic thinking. And I'm now going to go through the 8 ways that realistic thinking provides value, with the first being realistic thinking minimizes downside risk. What this means is that actions always have consequences, but realistic thinking helps you determine what those consequences could be, which is crucial because only by recognizing and considering consequences can you plan for them. What I mean by this is that if you plan for the worst case scenarios, you can minimize the downside risk. From here, number 2 is realistic thinking gives you a target and a game plan. Realistic thinking leads to excellence because it requires people to face reality. With any form of a pursuit, you must define a target of some sort, and then from there develop a game plan to accomplish it. Also, when people engage in realistic thinking, they begin to simplify practices and procedures surrounding the pursuit, which therefore makes them more efficient. After that, number 3 is realistic thinking is a catalyst for change. Without understanding the reality of the situation, it can be difficult to make a valuable change. Next, number 4 is realistic thinking provides security. Disappointment is the difference between expectations and reality, and realistic thinking minimizes the difference between the two. From here, the 5th way that realistic thinking provides value is by giving credibility. People place confidence in those who think realistically and plan accordingly. Then number 6 is realistic thinking provides a foundation to build on. The bottom line is that realistic thinking helps you to make an idea usable by taking away the wish factor. You must have something concrete to build on with ideas and plans, and realistic thinking will provide a solid foundation for any plan or idea. After that, number 7 is realistic thinking is a friend to those in trouble. Realistic thinking always gives you something concrete to fall back on, which can be extremely reassuring during times of trouble. And finally, the 8th way that realistic thinking provides you value is that it brings the dream to fruition. If you don't take a realistic look at your dreams, you'll never achieve it because you won't know how to get there. And now that I've gone through the 8 ways that realistic thinking provides you value, I now want to go through the 5 things that John says you can do to improve your realistic thinking. Number 1 is to develop an appreciation for truth. If you don't appreciate realistic thinking, it will be difficult to become a realistic thinker. If you want to become a realistic thinker, you must get comfortable dealing with the truth and facing up to it. From here, number 2 is to do your homework. The first step in the process of realistic thinking is getting the facts, meaning that you must take the time to do your due diligence and homework when necessary. After that, number 3 is then think through the pros and cons. You must broaden your perspectives and angles on how you look at something in order to gain the whole reality of the situation. Next, number 4 is picture the worst case scenario. The true essence of realistic thinking is discovering, picturing, and examining the worst case scenario. And if you aren't aware of it, you won't be able to handle it. And finally, number 5 is to align your thinking with your resources. If you don't have the resources to handle reality, it will be difficult to manage it. No matter who you are or what you dream to accomplish, you must instill realistic thinking in your life. Truth propels success, and you must be aware of reality. If you want to make a tremendous impact and craft a life of significance in this world, you must be a realistic thinker, because if you want to implement your ideas and plans in this world, you must be in touch with reality.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
Today's
More
You
No
podcast.